The Making Sweeping Changes 2, Writing the Story. Hi, welcome to The Making Sweeping Changes 2. Today we're going to talk about writing the story. So we have our top secret script here for Sweeping Changes 2. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. How I structured it, how I wrote it, why I wrote it, that sort of thing. Now this script is actually about 6 pages long. And I have it here, double-sided. So what I put into this, as we talked about last time, there's different ways to structure this. We talked about that before, the story structure where you have the 3 acts. And the stuff from Joe Velikovsky, I looked at his stuff and the storyality structure and how that played out in some of the other films that he had looked at. And I really like that. So I'm going to use that structure, of course, way pared down or condensed, because I only have 6 pages here. So in his 90-minute film, he talks about certain things happen in this certain amount of time. Say the first 2 minutes this thing happens, the first 5 minutes this sort of thing happens. Well, with only 6 pages, it ends up being in the first quarter page this happens, or the first half page this happens. So you gotta condense things very quickly. So it happens way up here at the top. So all that happens is everything gets compressed. So all the elements of the story get pressed into this 6 minutes. And that makes it kind of difficult. But it was a nice challenge. I think it's going to turn out really well. The other thing I wanted to do was try to figure out really what the story was going to say. In the original one, I talked about knowing what you're good at and be comfortable with it, and to not be intimidated by other people. That was the basic premise of that story. Even though it evolved around vacuums, Broomhilda comes in later, and she talks about understanding what she does best. And she's comfortable with that, and she never worried about the vacuums that came along after her. Didn't bother her at all, because she knew she had a place. So that's what that story was really about, and I think that's why it really resonates with some people. And when writing Sweeping Changes 2, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to say. Did I want to be a bully message, or what was it going to be? And then I watched Sweeping Changes 1 several times, and I realized at the end, Broomhilda says, "Do you promise not to bring in any other vacuums and not to replace these guys?" And I took that and said, that's got to be it. And I thought that, if the story could tell you something, if it could teach you something, then it makes it a more compelling story. So I went with that premise, the promise. And so this story will start out, basically, it has a little bit about the history of what happened between the first time and this time. So that kind of sets up our environment that we talked about before, the little exposition you gotta have. I may do a scroll here, or if I can think of a good way to do it visually, I'll do it that way, but I'm pretty much thinking of doing a scroll at this point, sort of like Star Wars does in the beginning, right? And then it goes right into the owner bringing in another vacuum, the Dyson vacuum actually in this case, and the other vacuums that are here react to it. And in this, I wanted to have a lot of visual effects. I thought it'd be kind of cool to do that. And so I'm doing something very different. One is I made this green screen here in my apartment. And so we're going to use this for sort of some of the visual effects. Some of the effects are going to be, I'm going to get sucked into the vacuum, and it is a Dyson vacuum. So then when I get sucked in, you can see me because they have a clear area for where you see the dust collected. And I'm going to be in that, and I'm going to do the filming here for that, getting sucked into the vacuum down through the hose and stuff like that. I'm going to put myself probably on a box and then lean back and film myself there from the green screen as well. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do that, but when we talk about the script one last time, we'll talk about how we're actually going to do the production. So that's it for Sweeping Changes 2. I put it in to this top secret binder here, but the basic idea is that it's going to be about promises and keeping promises. So I hope you enjoy it, and next time we're going to talk about the production, how to look at your script and determine what you're going to need and how long it's going to take. Okay? Thanks for joining me.